If you like this video, hit the bell icon and subscribe.
Swiss Alps, Swiss chocolate, Swiss cheese, Swiss watches, Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, and Swiss banks. Everyone knows these touristy things about Switzerland. But there's one thing that this tiny, not so populated nation with very high life expectancy, low crime rate, but the third highest gun ownership, most innovative country has that no other part of the world does. Complete power in the hands of the people. Sounds almost utopian, no? How does this model work and what can India learn from it? We're going to be discussing and analyzing all of that in this video. If you find this video interesting, then please do share it with all your friends on social media as well as WhatsApp. And don't forget to give me your thoughts in that comment section below. Switzerland has maintained the world's oldest direct democracy for almost 700 years. Mota, there are two main types of democracy, direct and representative. In a representative democracy, people vote for representatives who then enact policy initiatives. In a direct democracy, people themselves decide on their policies. Most Western countries have representative systems, and Switzerland is a rare example of a country with direct democracy. There are three levels in their government systems: the municipalities, cantons, and the federal state. Here, citizens have more power than in a representative democracy. Swiss citizens vote regularly on any kind of issue: political, financial, approval of a schoolhouse or building of a road, a change in policy, let's say even regarding sexual workers, a constitutional change, or even on foreign policies of Switzerland. They do this 4 times a year. In fact, the 4 dates of a year have been fixed all the way till 2034. In Switzerland, any policy can be changed just by getting over 1 lakh signatures of its citizens. Do they have a leader? Well, yes and no. They do have a president, and his or her term, it's only for 1 year. But the president is not the head of state. The whole federal council is. So, for example, if a foreign dignitary visits, the whole council will go and receive them. The president is primus inter pares, which means first among equals. In emergencies, the president can order precautionary measures, and in the unlikely event that the entire federal council is not able to meet, the president can make decisions. Even control over money lies in the hands of the cantons. Cantons are equal to states and the municipalities, and they decide over where the tax money goes. But a system like this, it can come with its fair share of challenges, where sometimes controversial laws can also get passed, like the ban on constructing minarets, which automatically blocks the building of certain kind of mosques in Switzerland. But it's not like just because the people have power, they vote in a way that anyone, especially I, would vote. For example, they actually rejected the initiative to give everyone in the country a basic income. Even a proposal of 6 weeks of holiday a year for workers was rejected at the polls. I mean, who doesn't want free money and holidays? Well, I guess the Swiss. It seems that in Switzerland, direct democracy has a curious effect on voter turnout. The more of a voice people have, the less often they turn out to vote. But over there, they have made their voting systems very accessible. Also, before anyone calls it out in the comment section, yes, there is a direct democracy in some US states like California, Washington, and Oregon. In 2021, Switzerland topped 2 charts: the World Competitive Index as well as the Quality of Life Index. The first one means that the country excels at retaining its domestically developed talent. It offers an ideal economic environment. It makes the kind of rules and regulations and market conditions more feasible and viable for business as well as labor. Innovation, digitalization, these are all very key for economic performance in the 2021 ratings. And if you're wondering how India has been performing in this, well, this is it. The Quality of Life Index. Now, they also rank Switzerland at number 1. So how is this quality of life calculated? It's your literacy rate, wealth, environment, physical, mental health, recreation, and so much more like these. Switzerland has low unemployment, a skilled labor force, and one of the highest GDP per capita in the world. The country's strong economy is powered by low corporate tax rates, a highly developed service sector that is led by financial services, and a high-tech manufacturing industry. When it comes to education, Switzerland has some of the best and the most expensive private schools in the world. However, roughly only 5% of its citizens attend a private school. Education is generally inexpensive for Swiss students, and while they don't top any of the lists for best education, they definitely must be doing something right, because many Nobel laureates are from Switzerland. Fun fact, Albert Einstein developed his famous formula while he was living in Switzerland. Speaking of education, I'm doing a course of 4 live sessions over 2 weekends where I will work with you on the art of communication. Right now, it's going at 1,000 rupees, which pretty much works out to 250 rupees a class. I've worked very hard to make sure that I will give you a bang for your buck. So if you do like the way that I communicate with people, please do make sure that you do enroll. The Swiss spend more on education than their military, but that doesn't mean that they aren't prepared for any attack. There are enough nuclear shelters to accommodate its entire human population. By law, everybody has to have access to a shelter in their building or nearby. And the Swiss military keeps fully stocked artillery bunkers that are disguised as quaint country homes. And if all of this isn't James Bond enough, rumor has it that all the major entry points to Switzerland are wired to explode at the first sign of a foreign invasion. Paranoid much? Maybe. But after all, they are surrounded by 5 other countries. Right now, Europe is unified, but historically, these are nations which have gone to war against each other many a time. By declaring itself neutral through the ages, from World War I down to World War II and beyond, the Swiss have not seen the calamities of war like any other country. It also gives a very safe haven to the money that rulers and corrupt individuals want to park outside their country. Swiss banks play a very large role in why Switzerland has been a rich country. As an Indian, you can be offended by their callousness for allowing Indians to park their black money with them. But as in the case of the law against minarets and their refusing to fight in everyone else's war, the Swiss have made it pretty clear to the rest of the world that they don't really care about what you think. Having traveled to Switzerland, I can vouch for the fact that this country is gorgeous. The way people dress, the cleanliness, and the observing of rules, that's the kind of thing that I've only seen in 5-star hotels in India. But the same people in those 5-star hotels, the minute they do step out, will happily toss a tissue paper on the road, something that they would never do if they were traveling in Switzerland. This said, the Swiss are a different breed. Unke yahan, the guests cannot even take one bite before the host eats. Dogs are allowed everywhere, and I mean everywhere. Shopping mall, grocery store, 5-star restaurants, even at the airport. Also, if you have a guinea pig by law, you have to have 2, so that they are never lonely. Guinea pigs are very social animals. And if one dies, they even have a rental service to replace them till you get another one. Socho guinea pigs ke baare mein ye log kitna sochte hain. But jokes aside, it is ridiculously unfair to compare India to them. I personally do not think that direct democracy is something that we as a nation are ready for. The average Swiss voter and the average Indian voter, they both come from very different worlds. वहाँ पे rice bags, tablet और दारू की वजह से कोई वोट नहीं देगा. But the Swiss have not had to deal with the kind of issues our nation has been dealing with. And I don't mean just post-independence, but for centuries before that. That said, there is nothing wrong in appreciating the good in others and see if we can become slightly more pragmatic as a people. Did you see how I use pragmatic in a sentence? It means dealing with things sensibly and realistically in a way that is based on practical instead of emotional considerations. So jate one last plug for my course. Be pragmatic and check out the details in the description below. I would love to hear from each and every one of you in that comment section below. Let me know if you think that this kind of model would work right here in India. Any of the initiatives that the Swiss have taken do you think are something that we as a nation could adopt? I'll catch you guys again very soon. Ciao!